See, this is a responsibility those of you who choose to become parents have. A child means it's not just a reproductive job. You're manufacturing the next generation of people. What kind of people will live on this planet is determined by you now. Very important responsibility, hello?
Yes.
What sort of people will populate this world in the coming generation is determined by the mothers and fathers of today. When this is the case, it should not be taken lightly. And of course, you know that human beings are not an endangered species. Hello? Yes or no? You know that they're not, or you…
Yes,
Okay.
they are not.
We are not an endangered species. So if you are a tigress, I would say, please, you must reproduce because, there is a danger to the species.
Yes.
We have multiplied manifold. Beginning of 20th century, just little over 100 years ago, we were just 1.6 billion people. Today we're 8.4 billion people, lot of reproduction. It's not just excessive reproduction, it is just that people are living longer, which is wonderful. So population has multiplied. Essentially, we took charge of death. We postponed our death. The average life expectancy of a human being at the beginning of 20th century was 48 years. Today, it's 70 plus in most places. So when you postpone your death, you should also have postponed your birth. But we didn't do that, so we multiplied literally almost 5 times over in a little over a century. Well, human footprint also has increased in its size, individual human footprint. What a human being would consume 100 years ago and what we are consuming is massively different. Hello?
Yes.
See, just look at this. What your grandparents had in terms of clothes, in terms of, automobile or homes or whatever, I think what you have today is at least 20 times over or 25 times over. Yes or no? So our consumption has increased and our population has increased. Everybody is trying to control human aspirations. You cannot control human aspiration. People drive an electric car to the office, on the weekend they take out a beast.
Yeah.
People are doing this everywhere. So, controlling human aspiration is very difficult. But bringing down human population consciously is very much possible. But nobody wants to attempt this because everybody thinks if I don't reproduce his population, his kind will go up. So my kind should go up. Whether it's in terms of race or religion or nationality, we are thinking on these terms. So we are yet to be sensible enough to find a solution. All of us can multiply like crazy and then no place to live kind of situation we can create. We're heading for that. All population projections show that somewhere around 2053, the human living conditions will become so bad. It is expected about 12% of the population may commit suicide. Yes.
How many? 20?
12%.
12%?
Yes, that's 1 billion.
Yeah. Wow.
Right now, the suicide rates in every country is going up. In Australia, every day 9 people commit suicide.
7 of the men.
Does it make you happy? What are the Australian women doing?
Yeah. Driving our men crazy, obviously.
So in India, 38 people commit suicide every day. In every hour, more than one, all right? In United States, 18 people commit suicide every day. In most affluent countries, in Japan, in 2020 when pandemic was raging, more people committed suicide than the number of people who died of COVID. So you don't really need any disease or a flood or a fire or anything, people will do it by themselves. And that number is rising year on year. It is expected by 2050 plus, up to 12% could commit suicide because it becomes so horrible to live here. And above all, mental issues are growing in so many different ways. So unless we do something right now that we bring people to learn to handle themselves consciously, if they continue this impulsive and compulsive reactions to life around them, they becoming mentally ill is very much possible. See, right now about 22% of the US population is under psychiatric medication. Recently, the Surgeon General in United States announced that 1 in 2 Americans is feeling lonely. If 2 of you are sitting here, 1 of you is feeling lonely, what's happening to the other guy? Loneliness is the incubation period for mental illness. Once you start feeling lonely, you are cooking it up. It's just a question of time, just a question of life situations arranging themselves in a certain way. If they become little formidable, you are going towards mental illness. Once you go towards mental illness, suicide is just one more extra step. See, the question is not whether somebody died or not. People anyway die, all right? But what they went through as life. If a man or a woman, a human being…
Mostly men.
Yeah. She seems to be enjoying it.
Not really. I'm actually going to a funeral tomorrow from a friend
that speaks badly of the woman in the country.
No, not really. It speaks badly of the men because we need to break that cycle. What can we do to break the cycle? Why do men feel like they…
No, I'm saying maybe the ladies are driving them in that direction.
I'm not responsible for that. You talk of responsibility.
In India, there is a law called abatement of suicide. So you said something to freak somebody and they went and committed suicide, you could go to prison for 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yes, abatement of suicide. So don't say this in India, okay?
Okay.
So, the important thing is, see, somebody committed suicide means somebody died, whatever means. Death is not the problem. See, the basic instinct of life is, you want to preserve this. It's natural, whether you're an ant or a human being. This life is the most precious thing. But you want to take it. You know how much suffering should happen? Nobody can gauge this. What happens in their mind for those few days or hours or whatever it takes for them to make that decision, that is terrible. The human suffering, man or woman, okay, it's still terrible, all right?
Yes, it is. Glad we agree on that.
So, that much human suffering we manufacture where you want to take your own life. The worst thing is, in 2022, 18,600 children committed suicide in India, below 18 years of age. Of this, 7,600 children were below 15 years of age. A child, 12, 13, 14-year-old child wants to commit suicide, what are we doing? Can't we see we are doing something fundamentally wrong? A child is an exuberant piece of life. 12-year-old, 13-year-old has to commit suicide means, do we not understand that we are doing everything wrong? The goddamn life is being done wrong. Hello?
Yes.
A child. But this is what is happening, this is across the world, there is no exception. Wealthy countries, poor countries, whatever kind of countries, it's happening because human software will collapse slowly if we don't take care of certain things. This is why we did the Save Soil movement, because when I saw in the month of January when COP26 happened in Glasgow and I met a few of the environment ministers, and when I spoke to them, what have you done about soil? They said, what is soil, Sadhguru? What's wrong with soil? We're all talking about oil. I said, what? In the COP, there's no soil? No, we didn't even hear the word soil. Then in March, I started 100 days this, I rode a motorcycle from London to Kaveri, 30,000 kilometers in 100 days. And when this happened, we managed to touch 3.91 billion people, B. And people rose. Once people started speaking, the narrative changed. In COP27 in Egypt, we became official observers. In COP28, The soil became the main theme in many ways. They had an event there called Soil the Superstar. A non-existent soil became the superstar in 2 years' time. We are already working with Azerbaijan, which is the next host for COP29, where we will make soil the main theme. Now European Union declared, if you address soil regeneration, 37% of climate mitigation can happen. I'm saying, where was it all this time? Because everybody wants to hit oil or whatever else fossil fuels because there is money in it. Soil, there is no money in it. Nobody wants to talk about it. See, if you want to shift from I'm not saying we should not shift, we must shift. But if you want to shift from fossil fuels to whatever other things, technological innovations need to happen. Innovations in technology is not going to happen overnight. It may happen tomorrow, it may not happen in the next 20 years, we don't know. Hello? Nobody can time scientific development that in this many years we will produce this. There is no such thing. It may happen, it may not happen. But soil means agricultural soil we're talking about. This is one piece of the planet where human hand is tending to it on a daily basis. The land that human hand is upon, isn't that the first thing we should change? Hello?
Yes.
Our hands are on it, isn't that the first thing we can change? No, we don't want to change that because there are so many vested interests who want to push you away from that. So this is why it's important, at least if 60% of the population stands up and says, this matters. If all of you every day say something about safe soil, in whatever messages you send, whatever transactions you do, you keep saying it, then it becomes a policy matter, it becomes an election issue, then money is invested, then things will happen. Otherwise, you go and fix your kitchen garden, that's very cute, but that's not a solution. Solution is the world's agricultural policies need to change.
You say that the pursuit of happiness is tearing this planet apart.
Isn't it? Everything that human beings are doing is in pursuit of their happiness. Can I tell you a little story?
Go right ahead.
This happened. There was a potato farmer. One day he felt like eating apples, so he went in search of an apple tree. He found one. Then, being a potato farmer, out of sheer habit, he started digging the ground for apples. When he found no apples, he became furious and dug furiously. After some time, slowly the tree came down upon him. That's what we're doing. Repeatedly I went through this. Human experience happens from within. Joy and misery happens from within, is it so? But you're digging up the whole damn planet to find happiness. Potato farmers, digging for apples. This is disastrous. So without a shift in consciousness, once people are empowered with technology and you tell them, don't use it, it's not going to work. You cannot stop, believe me. Because with the technology that we have, we don't need 1 billion people to destroy. 10 people can destroy the planet. Hello?
Yeah.
You don't need the whole population to do it. Because somebody can build a palace which is 1 billion rooms. People have built 1,000 rooms, why can't they build 1 billion rooms? 100, 200 years ago, there are people who built 1,000 rooms in their house. Like ghosts, they are allowed to walk around, but still, they have 1,000 rooms because your competition had 500 rooms. If your competition goes on 80-foot wave…
50-foot wave, can do that.
So, this in pursuit of happiness, happiness cannot be pursued if you… Like you said, you're always looking for things that you don't want. You're thinking, I should not be miserable, I should not be frustrated, I should not be depressed. If you just remove what you don't want, see, happiness is not something that you have to attain to. Even as a little child, you were joyful by your own nature, isn't it? Hello? When you are 6 years of age, somebody had to work hard to make you unhappy. Today, everybody has to work hard to make you happy. The whole equation. Everything turned around. What happened? See, at the age of 6, if you're so joyful, by the time you're 30, you should have been ecstatic. If you grew up, I'm saying. If the reverse happened, a retardation happened, isn't it? Your body grew, your brain grew, your capabilities grew, but your ability to live retarded. Those of you who have children, because she asked a question about children, if you have a child at home and you are there, between you and the child, who is more joyful? Who should be a consultant for life? Obviously. But the problem with adults is, the moment a child enters their life, they think they want to teach something. If a child comes, it's once again learning how to be alive, which you were also at one time. Now, you are acting like you're carrying the planet on your head. No. Hello, is it on your head? No. Nothing is on your head. Simply nonsense, because you don't know how to keep your head clean. Yes or no? Nothing has been done about it. Right from the kindergarten to wherever you have studied, it's all about how to conquer the world. You can call it science, you can call it technology, you can call it whatever, but look at the tone of everything. Everything is about how to conquer the world. There is nothing about how I should be. Nothing. Did you read anywhere in the textbook how as a human being you should be within yourself? No. Any method? No. So what will you produce? It's expected in another 15 years' time, 50% of the world's population could be diagnosed as mentally ill. Now when you say mental illness, don't think of only those people who are in an asylum or something. Shall I redefine mental illness for you, is it okay? Hello? If you're getting angry for 3 minutes a day, you are mentally ill. If you're getting angry once in 3 days, you're already on the way. Because you got angry with somebody just for 1 minute. They think you're mad anyway. Yes or no? So, just imagine, people around you, they have come to learn to live with mad people. What else to do? Not much choice, everybody seems to be in the same way. Can I tell you a story? This happened in Minnesota. This year there's been excessive snow. So a lady was going to a party in the evening and her car front tire went flat. She's been driving for many years, but she never had a situation where she has to fix a flat tire. So she pulled out the manual, looked at where the jack is and how to put it, everything she's learning, but she heard weird sounds around her. She looked, here is a mental asylum, a 20-foot wall. People are screaming and howling from inside. So she got a little scared, then the protection of 20 feet wall, nobody's going to climb that and come over. So she started focusing on how to fix the tire, she got the jack out, lifted the wheel, the first time in her life she's doing this, somehow got this, it's a heavy tire and wheel, and she somehow carried it around, got this. The instruction said when you pull out these 4 nuts, you put them in the hubcap so that they're in one place. She put it in the hubcap, but she was going to a party. So she's in those kind of clothes where you can neither sit nor stand.
Oh,
And she's on 6-inch high heels, she's tottering around with this heavy tire and she stepped on the hubcap. All these 4 nuts flew in 4 different directions, as nuts always do.
especially when stepped on by stilettos.
And it fell into the snow and it disappeared. She removed the main tire, brought the stepney, but no nuts. She was looking at it totally dejected, what to do. Then she heard a voice, "Hey lady!" She looked up. On the 3rd floor of the asylum, there's a young man standing there. He said, "Remove one nut from all the 3 wheels, put it on this and you can drive to the gas station." She did just that and she was wiping her hands, looked at him and said, "Thank you very much, but you're such a smart young man. Why are you in this place?" He said, "I may be crazy, but I'm not stupid like you." So you must make up your mind which one you want to be.
Crazy or stupid?
Yes. Because madness is an inevitable consequence of mishandling yourself. When I say mishandling, the first mishandling is you believe yourself to be something other than who you are. So these 3 boxes you must create in your life. What is memory? Memory is here. See, what is it people suffer? Just look at this. What happened 10 years ago, they still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. Yes?
Yeah.
They're not suffering life. They're suffering 2 most fantastic faculties of being human. That is, we have a vivid sense of memory which makes our life rich, and we have a fantastic sense of imagination which allows us to create so many things in the world. These are the 2 things they're suffering. If they had the brain of an earthworm, they would all be peaceful. Hello? And they would also be eco-friendly. So, essentially, it's the brain. See, about 4-5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, I think, there was a young woman in Hyderabad. Anybody Telugu people are here? Oh. So, she was a television anchor. One day, from her 5th floor balcony, she just jumped out and killed herself. She left a note in her house, "No one is responsible for my death, my brain is my enemy." To give you this brain, it took millions of years of research and development. You can just dismiss it with one word, evolution. But it is millions of years of research and development, isn't it? So much has happened. Wrong things have been done by nature and again corrected, so much has happened to get you to this place, and now your brain is your enemy. Look at this. This is the tragedy, that the best things that you have, you turn against. Once your intelligence turns against you, no god or devil can save you. That's the end of it. Hello? If your intelligence turns against you, it's over. So why does it turn against you? Simply, the fundamental mistake is you're identifying with things that you're not. Once you start that process, madness has begun. Some people will mature very quickly, others will go on slowly. Because people think it's normal to be stressed, they're crazy. People think it's normal to be afraid or fearful, they're crazy. They're looking for that kind of company, that's all. But you must understand, if your mind creates something that you don't want, you are crazy. Suppose your 2 fingers start poking at your eyeballs. You crazy or no? Hello? So if your hand does it, you can see it. If your mind does it, why can't you see? Your mind is poking you from inside, why can't you see beginning of madness is happening? Whether you will mature or not depends on various situations around you. This is why everybody wants to meet the best human being on the planet. They don't want to be the best human being, they want to meet that person and screw them up.
I'm just thinking about a lot of what you said, and one of the things that I think stops us from accepting the responsibility or the ownership of the nature of our own minds and the limitless nature of our being is that we can become a victim to circumstance. We allow external circumstances to dictate the quality of lives to us. And I must admit, when I was coming through the professional surfing ranks for probably the first 7 years of my career, I was a victim. My poor performance and my results was everyone else's fault. It was the judges or the conditions or my board. And then I realised that the centre of all of that misery and that suffering was me, and something had to change.
So even surfing causes suffering. I didn't know that.
Surfing and suffering, yeah. I was suffering while I was surfing.
I thought it's a fun thing.
It is, yeah. Unless your brain gets in the way, which my brain got in the way of. And then I realised that I had to change, and that's what led me to yoga and meditation and visualisation and all those beautiful things. So namaste for that. But I still felt uneasy. I still felt uncomfortable. And I went and did something at 25 years of age. I had an experience called a rebirthing, which is literally lying on the floor and getting connected with your breath, a cyclical cycle of the breath for 45 minutes. And that unsurfaced my fear of abandonment and rejection due to being adopted at birth. Now, and coincidentally, it was the same time that you found or same age, not the same time because you're a little older than me, but it was the same age that you found yourself at the top of Chaman.
Only by 1 year.
Oh, yeah. Ouch! Same time that you found yourself on Contemplation Rock and Chamandi Hill, 25 years of age, and you experienced that explosion of exuberance and blissfulness. We can't all have a rebirthing, we can't all find a contemplation rock, but we can all detach from the victim that we can instantly connect with very quickly because it's familiar, and we tend to go towards the familiar versus because it creates that sense of comfort and control. How do we break the cycle and maintain a connection to the positive process of the centeredness and the inner alignment to create that inner peace? So we stop being the victim and we stop projecting and we start taking responsibility, which, as you refer to in inner engineering, means responsible for responding.
Well, this
we need
word,
another hour?
This word rebirthing comes from a term called Dvija. In India, in that civilization, an enlightened being is always referred to as a Dvija. Dvija means twice born. Once you're born of your mother, which was not your doing, it happened. So, second time you're born consciously, which is your doing. If you have to be born again, you must first of all be willing to die the way you are. If you don't die, how to be reborn? I'm right here but I was reborn again means it's silly, isn't it? I died in some way. So it comes from that process, let's not discuss processes like that. So the important thing is this, that human beings find endless ways to torture themselves because their source of happiness is elsewhere. Somebody else, something else is the source of their joy. Now there is no end to this, because you can never have that somebody or something 100% in your control. Every small thing will freak you. About your success, see, that is a competence issue. Even if you did not become a champion, you could still enjoy surfing, all right? Becoming a champion is a question of competence, application, devotion to what you're doing. I keep repeating this word because the word devotion has been captured by religious people, which is a very wrong thing. Devotion means unfaltering involvement with something. Whether it is sport, art, music, spirituality, business, politics, whatever it is, if you are not devoted to it, you will not do anything significant. Mediocre things you may do, you may earn a living, but you won't do anything significant. to simply balance on that motorless, silly board. It takes a lifetime of devotion. Hello?
Yes.
Yes or no? Simply kid stuff. But to do it well, it takes a lifetime of devotion, otherwise it won't happen. Anybody can do a little bit, but to do it in a certain way, it'll take a lot. See how people are struggling to hit a silly sitting ball in a golf game? Do you think it's some great circus? Sitting ball, you can't hit. I keep telling them, if you can't hit a sitting ball, what the hell can you do in your life? So, but to hit a sitting ball properly, the way you want, takes a whole lot of work. Simply to hit it any way you can. But to get to that place that you do it just the way you want it, that takes devotion. It will not happen with concentration, it takes devotion, absolute involvement. Why I'm saying this, that religion has hijacked this word is, people think devotion means going to a temple or church or some place like that. No, nobody has done anything significant in this world without being devoted to what they're doing. Now, because you were talking responsibility, this whole movement is a movement from religion to responsibility. What this means is, religion means responsibility is up there. Responsibility means it's here. You must make up your mind. You must make up your mind because you're playing tricks. If you absolutely believe everything is done by God, let me see you leave your life to Him, leave your house unlocked, leave your safe unlocked, throw your money on the street. If God wants to give it to you, He will give it to you, otherwise He will take it anyway. No, everything you take care, what doesn't work belongs to Him. I'm saying, unfortunately, we're playing tricks with ourselves and thinking we are doing something very pious or sacred. Please come to senses. I'm not saying there is no value at all, there is, but if you're that kind, right now it's you not willing to hand over anything to God. You're trying to make a deal. Dear God, I'll give you $10 today, please I need $1 million in the lottery. Try this, I'll give you $10. You go outside in Melbourne, wave it at anybody who was on the street, I'll give you $10, please give me $1 million, they'll slap you in the face. But you think the source of creation is such an idiot that he will make a deal with you, $10 to $1 million? What makes you think? See, if you don't believe in anything, if you pay attention, if you pay attention to a leaf, a flower, an ant, a grasshopper, anything, don't want big things, small things. If you pay enough attention, whoever made this, brilliant, isn't it? Hello? Absolutely brilliant or no? But we did not say God is intelligence. We said God is love because you're bereft of that. We said God is compassion because you're always a helpless creature. Whatever is the source of creation is brilliance, isn't it? At least if you imitate that a little bit, the world will be better. Obviously, you didn't create this, nor I created this. Hello? We didn't create this. Whichever way it happened, brilliant or no? Neither the religious people nor men of science know where this cosmos begins, where it ends. But we are busy making silly conclusions as to how it happened, who did it. First thing to understand is, this creation is not human-centric, that is the biggest mistake we've made. Every other life is far more important than you. This is why this whole soil movement is. A handful of soil in southern India would have 8 to 10 billion organisms in it, one handful. Over 50 to 75 species of organisms. They are the foundational life. Even your body, right now in your body, 60% or more of it is just microbes. Only 40% is your parental genetics. If they freak, you're finished. This is what is happening to the world, that on an average 27,000 species of organisms are going extinct every year. As this progresses, first software will collapse, then hardware will collapse. We are heading that way. Those who are in touch with natural elements are a little more sturdy, those who are not, slowly dissipating. Why? When everything is better than ever before in terms of comforts and convenience, yes or no? Everything is better than ever before. 100 years ago, how people were living, how we are living, everything is better in terms of physical comfort and convenience. But why so many people are losing it? This is it. This is one of the important aspects. There are many other sociological reasons, that's a different matter. You cannot fix the sociological reasons overnight. Hello? You cannot. You can wish for it, but it's not going to happen. But there are some things we can fix. This is the whole thing. What we can do, we will not do. What we cannot do, we dream about it. You need to come down to realities. The reality is this: if you conduct your body well, you will be healthy. If you conduct your mind well, you will be mentally healthy. If you conduct your surroundings well, you will be socially well. If you do silly things, things will happen to you. You can look up and pray as much as you want. This happened in Tennessee. You know, our center is in Tennessee, it's a very religious place. So there was a very pious religious man who went to church not just once a week, every day he went. And he was always very poor, he prayed and prayed, dear God, Tennessee lottery is over 800 million. He prayed and bought tickets and tickets, nothing happened. Then at last he went. When he went there, he sought appointment with God and said, I want to meet. He met. He asked, Oh, Holy Father, why did you keep me so poor like a church mouse? I prayed to you every day, I did all the right things. But my neighbor, he's an atheist and he eats and drinks and fornicates and whatnot. But he's well-to-do, everything is good for him, why this? So God said, he doesn't bore me through the day like you. So, responsibility should be here. My life is my responsibility. This doesn't mean you created the creation, no. But creation has been done, management is still yours, isn't it? Hello? Management is still yours. So everything that doesn't work there, everything that works here is not going to work.
Here in the
Namaste, Namaste Sadhguruji, Namaste. My question is how to tune or prepare your mind for the certainty of death, for your close ones, your family, something that we all know is real, but to come to terms with it during the process of life, after especially mid-age life, how does one live with that fact?
See, the biggest problem with most human beings is they think other people die. They don't know this will die. You know those dying people, they die. No, you and me die. Right now we can say we are living, or we can say we are dying, actually it's the same term. Right now we are dying. The process will be complete one day. We hope to kick the can, but we know we are dying. If you know you're dying, everything in your body is speaking this language, it is dying. It doesn't matter how energetic you are, how exuberant you are, still it's dying, isn't it so? If you pay enough attention. So, instead of trying to make a philosophy out of death, you must pay little more attention to the life that you are. Then you know clearly you're dying. And everything in the body is programmed and prepared for that, except your silly mind. And that's what you want to prepare, I understand. But everything in the body, every cell in the body knows it's dying and it's preparing for it. And of course it's trying to buy a little more time.
Yeah. I need to capture that.
What are you capturing now?
That moment where I became aware of every cell in my body.
So, this happened in 2020, just before the pandemic, 3 weeks before the pandemic. There was a book that was in the writing process or in the editing process for almost 8 years. Usually that's not my time scale, but somebody was editing it, taking limitless amount of time, and they keep coming back to me, one more question, one more question, one more question. Then I said, it looks like this is going to be a memorial book. Then in February 2020, I said it must be published now. They said, no Sadhguru, there's some more work we need to do this, this and that. I said, no, it has to go now. They said, why? We waited so long, some more little thing, Sadhguru just spent 3 days with us, we'll put it together. I said, no, it must go now. Then the pandemic broke out. The book got published and pandemic broke out and death was all over the place. It's very important that, especially Western societies have made it like it's a taboo to utter the word death. No, everybody should know that we are mortal. Because it's a limited… essentially mortality means it's a limited amount of time. If you know it's a limited amount of time, you would organize yourself for that. If you think you're immortal, you would live a stupid life. Yes or no? So how do I prepare? See, when it's close, if you try to prepare somebody, they will get paranoid. Because you must understand, everything that you think is me is going to go right now. Your body is going to go, your thoughts are going to go, your emotions are going to go, your personality is going to go, your house, your relationships and the works, your job, everything will go. So when everything that you know is going to go, just an empty space seems fearful. You can't prepare against that. If you allow me, I will share something which happened. When I was about 2.5 years of age, for some reason my mother was unwell, and so I went and lived with my aunt for about nearly 2 years, maybe a little less than 2 years. She was only 18 years of age. She was just married, and she was an exuberant, joyful, loving human being. She took me as her own, and not as her child, I became her buddy. So she took care of me well. I was there for nearly 2 years and then I came back, but we maintained that relationship more as a friend than an aunt. Very joyful, exuberant, loving human being. Everything in her life well, her children came and, the usual things, boys went to America, girls got married as they wanted, whatever Indian dream happened. Small aberrations maybe, but nothing major, everything went well. When she was 69 years of age, she got some tuberculosis in the brain and they said she has just a few months left. She lost it. It was so painful to see her, such a joyful, exuberant human being. Suddenly she lost it completely. And then she passed on like that. Then I saw, this is what spiritual process means. That means something beyond your physical and psychological space, there is another little space. Once you have this little thing, suddenly losing the body, losing the mind is not such a big issue. You have a place to stand. If you don't have that, then suddenly everything looks like hopeless, just threatening. So this needs to happen. As a part of this, we started in southern India what is called as one-drop spirituality. Everybody must have at least one drop spirituality. They don't have to become, enlightened and knowledgeable and stuff. At least one drop, something more than the body must be with you always. If that is not there, when the time to lose this comes, you become desperate and it's natural. So this is very important.
Thank you for that question.
See, if you are a foolish person, you will do things that you suffer. And you think you're doing great because you suffer for everybody. No, your suffering will never bring well-being for others. If you don't know how to keep this one joyful, how will you create joy for anybody for that matter? This is a lot of miserable people taking on this role, I am miserable because I want everybody to be happy. This will never work. If you're an intelligent person, you will do reasonably what you like to do. But if you unfold your genius, you will see that you can do anything. Anything that is necessary today, you can do it joyfully. Instead of looking at it that way, we already sort of established this, but the question anyway came up. See, if you had a choice how to be, you also said blissful or did you say miserable? Blissful. So if you're blissful, whatever is needed you will do naturally, isn't it? This activity or that activity, what difference does it make? See, people come to our center, they say, Sadhguru, I'm qualified, I'm a doctor, I'm this kind of PhD. I say, all right, work, cut carrots in the kitchen, because today that's what is needed, not that we're taking pleasure in putting them there. Today that's what is needed, other things are being taken care of, nobody to… carrot cutters are missing, you cut the carrot, all right? So you don't think that is less, like I must tell you this. One 12-year-old boy writes a letter to me, a 4-page letter, this is a few years ago. And he writes a long letter saying how, he wants to make his life, how he doesn't want to be like his parents and just earning a living and da-da-da. I was just surprised, a 12-year-old boy. He's too mature for 12 years, the kind of letter he's written to me. I said, I want to see this boy. So then he came. Then I said, all this is fine, but why are you thinking that the way your parents… because your parents are stupid, that's why they produced you, all right? Hello? If they were so smart as you wouldn't be here. Yes or no? If they had the same thoughts and they were as smart as you are, you wouldn't exist. They were stupid, so they produced you. And now you're talking all this, and now you want to do big spiritual things, there's no such thing. See, understand this. See, our temple, the Dhanalinga temple, a meditation place, opens exactly at 6 o'clock, on the dot. People will wait like this, when it comes tuck, they'll open the door. So I said, see, tomorrow, suppose the temple does not open at 6 o'clock, simply it's closed. People will all come, what's happening, why is it not open? Then they'll think, oh, maybe today something, Sadhguru is going to do something big, maybe that's why they're preparing, it's closed, something, they'll think up their own thing. Every day for the last 30 years, without, once again to acknowledge all the volunteers, without a single day's break, every day meal has been served at 10 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the evening, without a single minute delay, always. So, suppose you go to the dining hall and it didn't open. Then you'll think, why the hell dining hall is not open, little hungry people will get little angry, bus. Then somebody will explain, maybe there is something else today, maybe today is a festival, maybe today is some special day, maybe they'll serve something else little later, they'll come up with explanations. But let's say you wake up, everything starts at 5:30 in the morning, sadhana. Suppose you wake up at 4:30, all toilets are locked. In 1 hour's time, there'll be a revolution. So I asked him, which is more important, the toilet, dining hall, kitchen, temple, which one is more important? You better understand, the moment you think one thing is more important than the other, you have lost it. Tell me, which is more important? Sitting in the temple and meditating is more important. Sitting in the toilet for a shit is more important. There is no such thing. When we do all of it, life becomes important, isn't it? If you don't do any one of those things, life will be a mess, yes or no? So the problem is this, when you say, I will do what I like to do, what I love to do, somewhere in your mind, you've decided what is superior, what is inferior, what is worth doing, what is not worth doing. This will go away in you the moment you're blissful by your own nature. Whatever is needed, you do. Different people will function according to their competence, but what is needed, you do at that given moment. So, do not distinguish as, I love to do this, I don't like to do that. If you're joyful, you see on a day when you're joyful, how flexible you are. Hello, how wonderful you are. I would like to meet you on that day when you're very happy. What a wonderful human being you are. Another day you're little unhappy, little dragging your feet, little depressed, frustrated about something, or you could be a nasty human being, isn't it? This is true with every human being. This is the mistake we have made about humanity. We try to produce good people. Good people are insufferable. Yes, those who think I'm very good are usually people that you don't want to live with. Hello? We need more joyful and sensible people. Can I tell a joke to him? He's a lawyer. So this happened. I'll tell him a joke because he's a lawyer, he must laugh. Because it's a dreary, serious place, where he goes. So on a certain day, Shankaran Pillai called his 3 sons. And he said, you good-for-nothing people, you idiots, go do something good in the world. They said, Father, we don't know how to do any good thing. How do we do good things? We don't know any such thing. Said, go help somebody, do something good you do. So they all went out. In the evening, first son came back. Shankaran Pillai asked, did you do any good thing? He said, yes, father, I helped an old lady cross the street. Very good. Second son came. You? Yes, father. What did you do? I helped an old lady to cross the street. Third son came. What did you do? He also said, I also helped an old lady to cross the street. He said, what? All 3 of you found 3 old ladies to cross the street? He said, no, father, you don't know how stubborn these old ladies are. Whatever we did, she wouldn't come. We also called our cousin, Ramu. Together all 4 of us held the 4 limbs and made her cross the street, but she wouldn't. You can do good things like this.
Anyone else? Is that okay, Guruji?
I'm a professional comedian and I also do executive coaching. My question is, how can I improve my skills in engaging people better and improving how they have their learning journeys?
See, if you understand you're very stupid, you can be funny. If you think you're smart, it's very hard to be funny. No, people are not getting it. See, the thing is, as we already went through, we are a tiny speck in this universe, da-da-da. We don't know a damn thing. Hello? We've assumed all kinds of things. We've assumed and invented all kinds of things to somehow bring some solace to ourselves. We don't know a damn thing. This is the fact. Yes or no? Neither religions nor science knows a real damn thing about what is life. We know a few things for practical purposes. Beyond that, we don't know anything. How is our existence happening here in the middle of nowhere? No, God created us. Well, you must be a nursery school child to go with that story. Anyway, the important thing is, if you really look at existence, if you look at one leaf, if you look at it for one whole life, you will not still understand it. You're pretty stupid, isn't it? If you understand that in the larger intelligence of this existence, your intelligence is such a puny little thing, then you will be funny naturally. If you think you're smart, then it's very hard to be funny, because if you cannot laugh at yourself, how can you laugh at somebody? You'll be sick if you simply laugh at other people, isn't it?
How do I find that perfect spot between contentment and chasing an ambition? Basically, the reality of my life and the expectation that I have of it.
See, contentment means containment. Why would you want to contain yourself? Because you're afraid if you overstep, you may suffer. This is what I've been talking from the beginning. If you know how to be blissful by your own nature, one thing that happens to you is you have no fear of suffering. Only when you have no fear of suffering, you can walk full stride, no problem. Because what happens outside of you does not change the experience of your life. You know, we're doing huge projects around the world. Whatever we can do, everything. People around me sometimes say, Sadhguru, if you take this, we don't know whether we'll do this, whether we'll be successful in making this happen. I said, why are you worried about success? It's about doing what we think is needed. It may work, it may not work. Anyway, shall I tell you my problem? Can I share my problem with you? This happened. This is the 40th year that I'm teaching like this. It started in 1982. So, on that day, I just sat in one place and suddenly I exploded into an ecstatic state where like every cell in my body is dripping ecstasy. And I thought I'm sitting there for 10-15 minutes, but when I opened my eyes, about 4.5 hours had passed. For the first time, tears. Me and tears were impossible. Tears to a point, my shirt is all wet. I'm sitting there for 4.5 hours, dripping ecstasy, there's no way to describe this. I'm a super skeptical person at that time. I'm a hardcore atheist at the time. And then I shake my head and think, what's happening to me? Maybe I'm going off my rocker. Then I ask my closest friends, something is happening to me. If I close my eyes, I'm gone. Come on, what did you pop, tell me? Those were the days of mushrooms and this and that. Come on, what did you take, where did you get it? I knew there was no point talking to anybody because there was no context to what was happening within me. I am not raised in any spiritual whatever. We were not forced to practice any religion at home, very agnostic kind of family, so I've barely ever been to a temple or a puja or anything in my life. So I don't know anything, all I know is I've hit a gold mine. If I close my eyes, I'm gone. So this started happening more and more. In about 6 to 8 weeks, it got established like a living experience. Then I sat down and made a plan. I was only 25. I sat down and made a plan. On that day, the world's population was 5.6 billion people. I just thought, who wouldn't want to be absolutely ecstatic for no reason? Simply, if you close your eyes, you're gone, boom. Who wouldn't want it? I couldn't imagine one idiot on the planet who wouldn't want it. So 5.6 billion people, I made a plan, in 2.5 years' time, I will make everybody blissful. Here I am 40 years later. Population has become 8 billion, generation Z has come, XYZ, whatever. And today people say we've touched over 2 billion people, but that's not my idea of a humanity, it's 8 billion plus. So, I'm destined to be a failure. I will die a failure, I know this. But I will die a blissful failure. Do you want to be a blissful failure or a successful, constipated person? You think you're successful because you set up such small goals for yourself. I did it. What's the point of that? You set up something that is larger than yourself, something that you cannot do in this lifetime. If you take 2 steps, somebody will take the next step. So my blessing is you must die a blissful failure. Is it okay?
They say, try and understand a human being and understand what others think about you. And my struggle is, am I looking at others to understand myself, or do I try and understand myself? Is there a way to understand self?
So this is a choice you have. Please sit down, I'm sorry. But you must rephrase your introduction. This is not a small question. Okay. So, this is a choice that you have with your life. Do you want to understand this life or do you want to experience this life? This is a choice, make that choice first. Because you thinking, I understood life, anybody who thinks they have understood life, they've just drawn their own conclusions, that's all. People who think they understand life, everybody around thinks is a bloody nutcase. Yes or no? You experience your life. If you experience your life, are you experiencing it in a joyful way or a miserable way? This is the only choice you have. As I said earlier, the problem with us is, we have always been, the religions of the world especially, not so much in this culture, but the religions of the world have largely been talking about understanding life. In this culture, we don't understand life. We just want to profoundly experience our life. How to make our experience life more profound than the way it is right now. This is the goal of this culture. But we've become so much westernized. See, all of you are in jackets, though it is summer, so we are very westernized. So, because of that, we are thinking of understanding. We are thinking of being good human beings. We don't need good human beings. Because people who think they are very good, they are the ones who do the most terrible things. Right now, a suicide bomber thinks he is doing a very good thing. If he did not think so, he wouldn't throw his life at it, isn't it? Hello? If he thought he is doing a worthless thing, would he sacrifice his life? He believes that he is doing a very good thing. So please don't do good things, they are dangerous. If you're joyful and sensible, do the most sensible thing around you, do the most appropriate thing around you right now. Because our actions are relevant to the times in which we exist. It's not independent of the times in which we exist, yes? All our actions are not independent of the times in which we exist. It's not all ours, it is where we are. Accordingly we act. So this is your action. We are always trying to fix the action. You must understand, action is a consequence of how you are. But today your education is training how to act. Nobody is telling you how to be. Because of that, no matter what you do, in the end you're confused. See, I don't know if you've been around people who pass, you know. If you've been around the last moments when people pass, you will see 80% of the people are not in pain, not in fear, they're just bewildered. Because they misunderstood their psychological drama as life. Right now it's happening to all of you, I'm telling you. You're misunderstanding your thought and emotion as life. This is your drama, you can play this drama whichever way you want. If you're a good director, the drama ends the way you want. If you're a bad director, it goes out of hand. It's your drama, isn't it? Hello? Right now, what dialogues are going on within you, it is your drama or no? Are you a good director that you will make it the way you want? Or are you such a lousy director, it just runs away by itself? So you are misunderstanding psychological drama as life process. You will pay for this, but unfortunately most people don't realize this till the last moment comes. You will see they're bewildered because Life didn't even begin, but it's getting over. This is what is happening. No, this is not what should happen. You must experience your life. What is there to understand? What will you understand? You will draw conclusions, isn't it? Life means this, life means that. Can I tell you a story? This happened. In 1924, there was a bishop in the Greek Orthodox Church. Greek Orthodox Church, they have their own pope in Istanbul. It was Constantinople at that time, but they've become a small group now. At one time, they were a very influential group. So this bishop, being in Istanbul or Constantinople, it's on the Silk Route, all these exotic stories from India and China washing across the Bosphorus, he's been hearing so many things about mysticism, mystics, all kinds of yogis and variety of things. So he always had this desire, he wanted to go to India and meet a real yogi or a mystic. But being a man of cloth, he couldn't decide where he goes. Time passed, he was over 60 years of age. Then he got an opportunity to come to India. He came to southern India. He had a good guide who took him somewhere and said, if you go up this mountain, he gave some directions and said, there is one cave where there is a yogi, he is the man for you. So our man, bishop, walked up. Mountains are not kind to you unless you kept yourself well, You may be very fit in the city, once you go in the mountains, it's a different story. So our bishop went huffing, puffing, then he reached this place. In front of a cave, a yogi was sitting blissed out. So he had been told, if you see an Indian yogi, you must prostrate. But there are objections. So with great difficulty, he went down and scraping his knees and making all that fuss, he got up. Yogi heard this commotion and slowly opened his eyes and smiled. Then the bishop asked, can I ask you a question? The yogi said, by all means. Then the bishop asked, what is life? This is what you're asking right now. Now he's over 60 years of age, now asking what is life. You should have asked this question when you were 8. When you were 8, you have the intelligence to ask this question. But maybe you were too playful, you did not ask. At least when you're 16, you should have asked, because that is the time questions will plague you. You somehow dodged that also. Now you are over 60, you're asking. Good, better late than never, at least you're asking now. So when he asked, what is life? The yogi went into raptures. Life is like the fragrance of jasmine upon gentle spring breeze. So, what? Fragrance of jasmine upon gentle spring breeze? My teacher told me, life is like a thorn. Once it gets into you, if you sit, it hurts, if you stand, it hurts, if you lie down, it hurts. For most people, it's become like that, isn't it? Whatever they do or they don't do, it hurts. If they do something, it hurts, if they don't do that, it hurts. Then you are saying life is like fragrance of jasmine upon gentle spring breeze? So yogi said, that's his life. So I'm saying, this life, what you call as life, is not a defined quantity. You can make it what you want. This is the beauty of our existence. Instead of making it a profound experience and a constant exploration, you want to define. Because if you want to understand, you must define, isn't it? You cannot understand something which is not defined. The moment you're defined, you're already in a box. No, I'm being gentle with the box, you understand?
Yeah. It's been absolutely enlightening conversation, and just made me think and just wonder that sometimes you have a perception of what you think you are. Then there's one perception of what people think you are. And then there's a third of what you think people think you are.
You're thinking too much.
That's part of my
Guruji,
problem.
see where I get the overthinking from.
No, there is no such thing as overthinking. Yep,
Is it necessary that all three need
should match.
does it need to be in harmony? And if it is not, then does it mean that you're not in harmony with the universe?
See, only when we are dead, we are the way people want us to be. Because they can make whatever they want out of us. When we are…
What you know what you are, but sometimes people
No. You know what you think you are. All right?
Right.
That's how the question started. You think you are this, they think you are that, now you think they may be thinking something else. All right, so it's all a thought. Thought, you can make it any way you want. Right now, as an experiment, all of you, if it helps to close your eyes, do this. Otherwise, with eyes open, if you can do it, eyes closed is better. Think of a tiger, can you? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Think of a flower, can you? A mountain, you can. So I'm saying you can think what you want, whatever you want. But right now, you have given up that choice. Now your thinking has become a rut, it thinks in a certain way. So that is not called thinking. The word thinking means you consciously generate a certain thought, that is thinking. Otherwise, it's called mental diarrhea. It's simply running. So if it's simply running, why is thought process simply running? See, suppose my hand is simply jumping. What will you think? Oh, maybe Sadhguru has some ailment. If your mind is simply jumping around, what should I think? Same thing, only thing is, nobody else can see. That's the only comfort you have, but that's not true. If somebody pays enough attention, they can see. So, this is not one person's problem, this is because there's a fundamental flaw in how we perceive ourselves. When I say how we perceive ourselves, what we call as our body. Were you born like this, Mom? Just like this? You were just this much.
Smaller?
Yes, she was also small, you can't believe that? Oh, my mother's small? No. No, she was only this much. Slowly it became this much. How? How? What made it like this? Food that we eat, isn't it? So what you call as my body is accumulation of the food that you've eaten. The food that you've eaten is just a piece of the planet, isn't it? We get it now, it's great. Otherwise, one day when they bury us, we will get it anyway. There's no problem about realization. When will it happen is the only question. If it happens soonest, we'll live one way. If it happens latest, we die one way, okay? So, body is an accumulation, am I correct? Yes. What you call as my mind, this is an accumulation of impressions that you have taken in. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, from this you have accumulated so much. Anything that you accumulate can be yours, can never be you, isn't it? Right now I'm sitting here, suddenly I pick up this vessel and say, this is my vessel. You will say, it looks like Sadhguru has a problem. Why is he saying such a thing? But then you say, okay, let's listen some more. Everybody says he is wise. After some time, I say, this is me. Then you'll say, let's go. Because this is a clear case, isn't it? But this is happening to you every day. Food appears on your plate, you say, this is my food, you eat it and then you say, this is me. You are thinking the accumulations that you have as myself And this is not stopping with body and mind. It is going to clothes, it's going to home, it's going to family, it's going to friends, it's going to wealth. You slowly start thinking all that is you. The moment you think of yourself as something other than what you are, your thought can never stop. It will go on endlessly, awake or asleep, it'll go on. If you release yourself from that wrong identification of believing yourself to be something that you are not, it'll become still. Then when you want, you can think, just like your hands. When you want, you can use it, when you don't want, you can keep it here. This is how all your faculties should be, isn't it? Hello? When you want, you can use it, when you don't want, you can keep it here. This is when a faculty is useful. If it runs all over the place, it is not useful. It is more of a nuisance. What is it that human beings are suffering? They're suffering their own intelligence. If you take away half their brains, they will all sit peacefully. Yes or no? They're trying to do that to themselves. Some people are soaking it in alcohol, some people are using some chemicals. So once their brains don't function, they feel peaceful and blissful. No, with full potential you must feel blissful. Disabled, you feel blissful, what is the point of that? Yes or no? You disable yourself and feel peaceful or blissful, it's no meaning. It's just like rest and peace. When you're dead, everything is peaceful. Others are also peaceful, you're also peaceful. You're alive, fully on, and you're blissful. This is important, isn't it? Because life is a bloody brief happening. Don't ever forget that. You think it is long only because in some way you have made yourself miserable or made life process burdensome. See, on a given day, if you're very happy, that day, 24 hours, poof, went off like that, isn't it? Like a moment. Another day, you're a little frustrated, depressed. 24 hours feels like a eon. So only miserable people can have a long life. If you're really joyful, before you know what's happening, it'll be gone. It's so brief. But what potential a human being carries, if you live 100 years, it's nothing, it'll be gone before you know what happened. So, the thought process going the way it is, it's not about what I think about myself, what I think about you, it's not about that. It is compulsive thought process. Compulsively, it is happening. This compulsiveness cannot be countered with anything other than consciousness. If there is darkness in this room, Mama, you must look at me, darkness, if there is darkness in this hall, if I give you the task of kicking this darkness out, even if you are a big whatever, kung fu fighter, you can't kick it out, isn't it? You just switch on the light and it's gone. That's the only way you can deal with it. So this is the only way you can deal with compulsiveness, only with consciousness. Consciousness means just this, that an intelligence beyond memory is alive within you. What did you have for lunch, Mom? You can tell me. Appam, oh, you come from Kerala. All right. Appam doesn't look like you. Appam doesn't smell like you. Appam doesn't taste like you. But you eat it, and in a few hours' time it becomes you, isn't it? So there is an intelligence within this which can make an appam into a human being. What a transformation in 4 hours' time. Yes or no? Suppose I take a appam in my hand and make a human being out of it, who would you think I am? God himself, creator himself, isn't it? If I take a appam and make a human being out of it, you would think I am the creator. You are doing it every day, not in your hands, in your stomach, all right? But are you doing it or no? Hello? So this is the whole problem. There is an intelligence within you which is the very source of creation. You're completely missing it because you're too enamored with what you have gathered in terms of body, in terms of mental impressions, in terms of things and people you gathered. You're too identified with those things, so you're completely missing an intelligence which is the very source of creation. If you were in touch with that intelligence, there is no question, there will be no question in your life. There shall be no question in your life, because that is an intelligence which made everything happen. If you are in touch with that, everything is here.
Parents today, and that's me myself, want to give away everything that what we have to our children, our thoughts, our attitude. But children don't want to take it.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you have reasonably intelligent children who are not taking up your thoughts and your attitudes.
And that creates a conflict at home. So how do we create a better, harmony at home?
See, if you wanted that that your children should be just like you, then, that is possible if you were some other creature. That is not possible for a human being. Your children need not be like you at all. They must think, live and do something that you could not imagine. So when they do something that you cannot imagine, you will freak, all right? You're freaking, not because they're going wrong, you're freaking because they're not like you. Because when they're not like you, they're not your property anymore. They never were your property. You must understand, you only give them a body, you can't create a life, that's not your making.
It is extracted from recent interview of Sadhguru. In this interview, Sadhguru talk about death. Sadhguru says, we all want to live well, and when it is time, die well too. This is the essence of most human aspiration. Within this, much, if not most, of human endeavor is dedicated to living well. The outcome reflects it. Humans have achieved much in terms of living well. We have managed to acquire much comfort and convenience than any other generation in the past. However, when it comes to dying well, it cannot be said that we are dying in any better than our ancestor. Manufacturer explains why women were successful with living better but not dying better. The most significant of them being the disparity between the way we treat life and death in our society. Everywhere in the world, life is mostly considered a success, that it is to song and celebrate, but death is considered a failure. This is to be shunned and mourned. Oddly enough, in the constitute dichotomy of life and death, it is life that is four-letter word, not death. Yet in the world, it is death that gives the bad press. Death is word where mere utterance and harsh dinner conversation. Children are taught not to utter the word at the home, unless the god of death chooses to visit, while the adults are on the quest to invent overly oak euphemisms that try to mask the bluntness of the event with vanity. It is said that women do not know much about death because they do not know much about life in the first place. Death is brief occurrence at the end of a long life. But even after lived a full lifetime, people are clueless about simple questions about life, like where did we come from and where we are going. So confusion about death is understandable. However, it must be acknowledged that in recent time, humankind has indeed traveled far from its simplistic understanding that life is God's gift and death is His wrath. Traditionally, it was only religion that people looked up for the unveiling of this mystery. Adjudication of matter related to death and dying are mostly in the hand of shamans and priests of various kinds. It was only in the past couple of 100 years when a slew of medical discoveries began making a considerable impact upon health and mortality on a global scale that people began turning to modern science for answer on death and dying as well. The success of modern science in dealing with the matter of death and dying can be seen in the phenomenal improvement in just two of the key global health parameters, life expectancy and infant mortality. No better testimony to the success of modern medicine is needed than the burgeoning global population of 7.75 billion on the planet. With this development, modern medicine has firmly dislodged everything else as the final adjudicator of all matters of life and death. Modern science, characterized by objectivity and universality, has now enabled people to look at death in ways that are not possible before. However, the blazing trail left behind by modern science is not without its blind spots, dangers, and destruction. One major outcome of death being handled by modern science is that we come to be called the medicalization of death. Death, especially in the more advanced countries, is no longer looked as natural phenomena, but as a medical condition, with even ordinary life event and condition being treated as risks and disease. Death being preceded by excessive and often aggressive medical intervention has become the new norm. Moreover, women have been comfortable with their mortal nature. So the success of medical science has to be breath of fresh lease of life to the historic quest of immortality. Riding on the shoulder of modern science, people have now begun to speculate its deathlessness is not in fact the norm and death is abbreviation. It has emboldened people to wonder if death is not just one more disease that needs to be conquered. Something that our super sleuth in White Coast will surely do within our lifetime. Our growing capability to interfere with the fundamental life process has undoubtedly increased our propensity to overdo it. One reason why scientists appear akin to the 6 blind men studying an elephant getting parts right while missing the whole. In their keyhole vision of life, death, just as a life, can be understood as having 3 components. There is biological part, a psychological part, and a metaphysical part that causes the biology and psychology to happen. In recent time, our understanding of biology of death has greatly increased. Today, we have a much better understanding of the point where biologically life ends, death begins. In terms of psychology, too much progress has been made. What makes a person? Is it nature or nurture? What is the role of each? These aspects too are much better understood, but the more profound question of why death or life happens and how we are still largely not understood. Unfortunately, today's science has access to the being from the point where the body begins to the point where it ends. Science does not even acknowledge the possibility that something could precede life or succeed death. The hypothesis that life is just a chance occurrence in this vast universe of infinite permutation and combination of factors is riddled with many holes.